Hey, fellow problem solvers, Colfax Math here. Today I was going to go over a laser engraver project that I'm going to do to start out the term. Really cool measurement, math, layout, ideas on how to manufacture, ideas on making, connecting all of the pieces. I'm going to draw it in Corel Draw and then run it on the Universal Laser. And that project is a super cool pop-up card. Look at this thing. So I'm going to run over how to do this project and how to run it. Okay, I'm in Corel Draw 2019. I'm going to start right here and go File, New. Then on my setup, this is really important. RGB has to be selected here. And then the width of my bed on my laser engraver is 24, the height's 12, so I hit OK. So the size of this is how big my bed is. Then my card stock right here is 8.5 by 11, so I'm going to do that by creating a rectangle. I go up here, Rectangle tool. I'm going to create a rectangle. The X dimension of that rectangle is going to be 7. The Y dimension is 8.5. I hit enter, and there it is. I actually am going to turn that into a hairline red so it cuts out. I'm going to actually use a larger sheet of paper and cut that rectangle out, and it's also going to keep me centered as well. The way I do that is over here, I go to my property manager on the right hand here. If it is not up, you could find that manager by going Object, Properties, and selecting that with the check mark, and that property manager will come up. This is the outline color and line weight, and then this is the fill line of the fill color and line weight. So I'm on outline. I'm going to select right here. This is a hexadecimal system. So it has to be perfectly red. It has to be 255 parts red, 0 green, 0 blue. That's actually how you program the computer to actually cut parts out. So after I set that at 255, the second part of the programming is I have to set it to a hairline. So once it's hairline red, it reads it as a vector cut through. I found some artwork that I like, and I'm going to import that artwork. So I go File, Import. I saved it in a folder, tree card, and here it is. And I'm going to import it, and I'm just going to put it down right there. I'll make it a little bit larger. This is a raster, which are like little pixels filled in, and I want it to be a vector as well. So as it's highlighted, I go up here to Trace Bitmap, pull down Outline Trace Logo. I want to merge, remove, and delete the original. And I could play around with these, but it looks pretty black and white and clear, so I'm just going to hit OK. And now the thing's vectorized. Again, back to my property manager, I'm going to select this thing, and I'm going to make it hairline red. So again, 255, and the line weight has to be hairline. And then with the roller ball on my mouse, I could grab that and pull it up and over. So you go over here to the fill bucket, and then on the fill, I don't want any fill, so it's not filled in at all. So there it is right there. I'll click on that and delete it. And then here's my tree. I'm going to try and keep my filled into my screen pretty good. Remember, this is going to be a fold line, so I'm actually going to create that fold line on here. I'm going to do that with this line right here, and I'm going to do a 2-point line. As I get close to the middle, it'll snap to midpoint. I'll hold the mouse down and draw the other midpoint. I'm actually not going to keep this line. This is really my construction line. All right, so if you're looking in the bottom corner of the video there, this piece, this tab sticking out right here, that length has to be equal to that length right there. And that's based on my center line, which is in the middle of the card where I'm going to fold it in half. So I'm going to just create a center line, say 1.5 inches long. Maybe that'll work. Hold the control button down and get a vertical line. I'm going to draw down just any line. And then, what did I say, 1.5 inches? We'll make it 1.5 inches long, and it's vertical. And again, this is going to be a reference line. Go back to my selection tool. I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to grab that node at the end and snap it on the center. Here's another thing you could do too, is I'm going to grab that line with my left button on my mouse key, and I'm going to drag it over here, and then I'm going to right click down, and that's going to be a copy. And then I'm going to actually make this a hairline red as well. So again, in my property manager, The outline is going to be 255.00, and then the weight of the line has to be a hairline. So here's my tree. I'm just grabbing on the corner, make it larger or smaller, and get an idea is I want it to come down here enough so that the leaves are above that line. I'm going to have to cut it off at the bottom of that black line, and then this red line is going to have to fit on top of it. See how I have some extra geometry here? So I could get rid of that by clicking on it and knifing it off, or I could go over here to my object properties under layer 1. Here's a group of 3 objects. This one right here is that. I'll hit delete. So I'm going to go back to my line tool here, 2-point line. I'm going to snap right at the end of that node, hit control, and that's going to keep it horizontal, and drag across. I'll do it the other way too. So that looks pretty good there. Now that I have that, I'm going to cut everything off below that line. Right here under the virtual segment delete, I'm going to select the virtual segment delete, and then I'm going to click out that red line there, there, and there. So that'll be a straight line off, and then I'll also get rid of these lines too. Now that I have that, I'm going to delete those, but I'll leave them there for a little bit. Back to my selection tool. Then I'm going to bring this thing somewhere, I don't know. That actually looks pretty good right there. And then this one needs to be parallel to it, so I'm going to create a line, horizontal line. So I'll snap right on that node. Again, hitting control and drawing across, maybe to there. Selection tool, grab this line, grab the node at the end, and snap it on there. I'm creating this tab right here. So this thing right here is the same length as this bottom part right here. So I need to get rid of this part here. Again, back to my virtual segment delete tool. So that's out. My selection tool, I'll delete this line out, delete that line. I'm going to delete this line, this bottom line, and then save it on a flash drive. And let's take it out in the shop and cut this thing out and get going. All right, this is the exciting part out here in the shop. Now we're going to run it on the laser engraver. This is a Universal Laser VLS 3.60. Do not use this tool until you've been fully trained. You want to be conscientious of a fire, so you want a water bottle near. Know where the fire extinguishers are. Make sure you're setting your Z accurately. The vac has to be on. Safety always number 1. Never leave this tool unattended. And again, do not use it till you've been trained on it. So here's your artwork on that flash drive. You open up Corel Draw out here, and you open up your file. There it is. You like it, it's all in hairline red. I'm going to go up here to print. I go File, Print. That's not going to print it. It's just going to post it to the driver that runs the actual laser engraver. VLS 3.60, that's right. I go to Print. I'll minimize Corel Draw, and I'll open up the driver that runs the laser engraver. So there it is. Your artwork should be red on here. If you can't see it, it's because in Corel Draw, it's either not RGB, 255.00, or it's not hairline. So it has to be red on here, okay? Then I'm gonna go over here to Settings. Under Settings, I'm gonna go to, it's a natural material. So there's natural. Under natural, it's a paper. Under paper, it's construction paper. And then I measure the thickness with the caliper, and it's 0.006, so 6 thousandths of an inch. I hit apply, okay. Before I hit this, I have a few more things to do. I go to relocate view, and this is how I'm going to guarantee it's going to be centered on the paper. I'm going to click the middle square. This page is 8.5 by 14, and we're using half of that. So in the X, it's going to be half of 7. Half of 7 is 3.5. And then in the Y, it's 8.5. So I cut 8.5 to get 4.25. So that's half of that. I hit enter, and now I can see it centered on there. Come over here to a laser engraver. I'm going to use that full sheet of paper because holding it down is actually a key piece. I don't want to hold it down where I'm going to be cutting. So I'm using a scrap of wood here on the piece that I am not cutting. And I make sure my paper is in the upper left-hand corner, and then I'm just weighting it down with this. I think I'm ready to go. Let me close this up. I turn the vacuum on, and then I hit play, and it's laser cutting. There it goes. You can tell these are vectors because it's not going back and forth. It's following it with a direction and a magnitude. And then it's all cut out just like that. That little piece got sucked up through the back. And there's a tree. And then let's go back to my desk and fold it and see how it's going to work. So this thing's going to get folded in half this way. Pop up. This should go this way. And that should fold forward. This should fold back. And then this should fold forward. I don't know if I did. Oh, still not a perfect design. I'll let you figure out a better design. Give this to a teacher to thank them for all they do. And then you're going to open it up. And there's your pop-up tree right there. There it is. Colfax Math. Hope you enjoyed the video. Love to see your cards. Please comment below. If your cards came out cool, I'd love to hear maybe some of the imagery you did or what you did with this project. It is a great way to figure out layout, digital manufacturing, working with design software and watching that design software come to fruition. Ton of math in this project. Yeah, so comment below. I'd love to hear your comments. Thank you for watching.